Hey everybody. So this summer when we were up in Indiana and we learned from our friend and Richard's neighbor Bob how to smoke veggies on a Weber grill and found out how delicious smoked vegetables are to make salsa, we decided we needed to come home and outfit our big green eggs so we could do the same thing. So I wanted to show you the setup for that and then show you how we've been doing this. So two major differences between what we wanted to be able to do and what Bob showed us how to do. The first big difference is that we want to smoke large amounts of vegetables at a time because I like to make salsa and I like to can it for the winter. So I wanted something so that if we were going to spend 3 hours out here smoking vegetables, that I would wind up with a good amount of salsa. So this system allows us to do that. The second thing that's different is that we have a big green egg. We don't have a Weber. So we needed to figure out what was it that we needed to do to outfit our grill and so we could make large amounts of smoked vegetables on a big green egg. And this is what we came up with. Okay, so let's look at what we have here. What we have basically is a 2-rack system that sits down over the big green egg. I can take this rack off, and so that I can fill this up underneath here is this first rack. It's actually two different pieces, piece 1 and piece 2. We have a drip tray that sits on top of this convector, they call it now. They used to call it a plate setter. And this is sitting down on the original grate. So basically, with this in place and with this set of grates, with our rack system and the second rack on top, I am now set up so that I can smoke about a gallon's worth of salsa vegetables at a time. So let me show you how we've done that, because we've done it 3 times. I've made about almost 25 pints of smoked salsa, and every single batch has been equally delicious. So I already mentioned the fact that we want to be able to smoke much larger quantities of vegetables on here so we can make a lot of salsa at a time. But another thing that is different about this has to do with what we're using for fuel. So we always have used lump charcoal, natural lump charcoal. So that's one difference. We dump it in there. We aren't making a snake or anything like that. And then the third difference has to do with the way that we get to adjust the temperature. And so our egg comes with this handy guide here that allows us to figure out how do we adjust this part at the top and this part at the bottom if we want to hold it to, say, 225 degrees, which is about what we want to hold the temperature to, that or a little bit lower for slow smoking. So that's a difference. The other thing that's going on here is that where Bob showed us how to make that beautiful snake with the Kingsford charcoal and place the hickory in a line along that, and so that as the snake burned, different chunks of the hickory would burn. We had to figure out how we were going to do a similar kind of thing with a slow burn of lump charcoal. It's just dumped into a round basin. So what we did was we figured out that we would light the center of the charcoal and placed the hardwood chunks out around that, and so as it burned out from the center slowly, because of the fact that the airflow was turned down so low, as it burns out slowly, then the charcoal, or the hardwood would light and smolder and give it that lovely smoke flavor. So those are the big differences that we're talking about. And then another difference has to do with the fact that we purchased a basket down at the very bottom of this that allows us, after we're finished, to shut all of the airflow down, stop burning entirely, and then the next day come shake the ashes out of the charcoal, clean it out, and put the unburned charcoal back into it. So that was something that we weren't able to do before with the big green egg, because basically um, you would have to lift all of that out by hand if you wanted to stop the burn and save the charcoal. Anyway, let's take a look at how all this works, because we're pretty excited about it.
And this, of course, will drop the temperature, and so it's always good to listen. So you see. So just make sure that's kind of me. Anyway, yes, would have figured it out soon enough.
And then the rack had to wound up having to move the.
It's fine if you, whatever you prefer. I don't care about that part because that's the cooking
So
part.
I would take this off.
That's what my point was.
But leave this on.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we are going to load this up with tomatoes on the bottom. Today we're using tomatoes that I have cut in half and cored. I bought them at the Cayce Farmers Market. They were from Chester County, South Carolina, where I lived for many years. So shout out to Chester County, South Carolina farmer that grew these absolutely gorgeous tomatoes. And I load up this bottom rack with tomatoes first, and then I'll put the top rack on and put my jalapenos and my garlic and my onions in. Smoke gets in your eyes when you're doing this, but it's worth it. All right, let's close it up. And of course that brought the temperature down substantially. What we're going to try to do here is hold the temperature to just below 200 degrees for about 3 hours. And then we'll take these off, we'll process them, turn them into salsa, and then I will bring them to a boil, cook them for about 20 minutes, and then put them into sterilized jars, and then we're going to process them in a water bath canner. Okay, so you can see that the tomatoes and the garlic and the onions are nicely cooked. I'm going to just go ahead and take these off the heat and put them into this bowl, which should be closer so that doesn't happen. Just lost an onion. You can see that the veggies have a little bit of brown on them, but they're not really fully cooked. The insides, you can see the insides still have the color of the onion. So they're heated through and they're smoked, but not cooked soft. And since I'm going to process these, I'm going to take some of these tomatoes from the top that appear to be a little bit more done. Got a little color on them. Seem to be a little drier than the others. And I'm going to go ahead and add those here so that I've got some juices to process these. Let's take one more. Okay. And these I'm going to allow to smoke for another 30 minutes or so. Let's see if we can get that guy up there. Good. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and take these tomatoes off. So let's see how they look. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks good. So I'm going to put them in this bowl. When I get them inside, I'm going to slip the skins off and squeeze the skins off into the bowl, discard the skins, and then process them all in the blender. And to get the rest of these off, I need to take off this upper rack, which is hot. I'm going to ladle this boiling liquid into these jars that have just been boiled. And I'm going to, oh gosh, that smells so good. I'm going to take them right up to the little line. And I'm going to put it over the top of that clean jar ring. And I'm going to snug it down. I don't want it, you don't have to yank it on there or anything, just snug it down. All right. Remove this. As you can see with that one, it's not submerged, but that's okay, because displacement means that as I add more to the water bath. All right, our timer has gone off. I'm going to take the lid off of this. And carefully take the jars out and set them on the towel. And if they aren't already sealed, in a moment or two you're going to hear them start popping and sealing.